Throughout history, many cultures and traditions have warned about the presence of unseen, malevolent forces influencing human behavior. Whether these are seen as metaphors or literal entities, the idea of demonic influence has intrigued and alarmed people for centuries. Even J.R.R. Tolkien, the celebrated author of The Lord of the Rings, delved into the nature of evil, describing it as a corruption of good that seeks to dominate and destroy. In this video, we'll explore 7 signs that someone in your life might be under such influence, drawing from ancient wisdom, modern interpretations, and the reflections of Tolkien himself. A sudden, unexplainable change in behavior is often one of the most striking and distressing signs that someone may be under demonic influence. These changes can manifest in various ways, such as sudden outbursts of anger, irritability, or a pervasive sense of despair that wasn't present before. It's not uncommon for those affected to develop an uncharacteristic disinterest in activities they once loved, or to alienate themselves from their closest friends and family members. This shift in behavior often defies logical explanation and leaves loved ones searching for answers. What makes these changes particularly unsettling is their intensity and rapid onset, almost as if the person has become someone else entirely. For example, a person who was once kind, patient, and loving may suddenly become cold, cruel, and unpredictable. They might lash out at others without provocation or engage in self-destructive behaviors that seem entirely out of character. These changes are often accompanied by an inability or unwillingness to explain their actions, as if something deeper is driving them. In many cases, the person might even express confusion or fear about their own behavior, recognizing that something isn't right, but feeling powerless to change it. J.R.R. Tolkien's writings provide a powerful lens through which to understand this concept. In The Lord of the Rings, the One Ring serves as a symbol of corrupting influence. Those who possess it often exhibit a profound change in personality, marked by paranoia, greed, and a thirst for power. Frodo, a character of immense goodness, begins to lose himself under the ring's weight, becoming suspicious of his closest allies and withdrawing into himself. Similarly, Boromir, a noble and brave warrior, is consumed by an almost irrational obsession with the ring, leading him to betray his companions. These fictional examples mirror the real-world experience of watching someone change under an unseen, malevolent force. Tolkien's portrayal reminds us that evil often seeks to corrupt the best qualities in a person, twisting them into something unrecognizable. When encountering such a transformation in someone close to us, it's crucial to approach the situation with empathy and care. Jumping to conclusions or responding with anger can further alienate the individual and make it more challenging to address the root of the problem. Instead, try to create a safe space for open dialogue, allowing the person to share their feelings and experiences without fear of judgment. While these changes may be unsettling, they also provide an opportunity for deeper connection and understanding, as well as the chance to guide the affected individual toward healing and support. An overwhelming sense of negativity or fear can be another powerful indicator of demonic influence, affecting not only the individual, but also those around them. This negativity often takes the form of pervasive despair, anxiety, or a general sense of hopelessness that colors every aspect of their life. It may seem as if a dark cloud has settled over the person, making it difficult for them to find joy or meaning in anything. These feelings are often accompanied by intrusive thoughts, paranoia, or a heightened sense of vulnerability, as if they are constantly being watched or threatened. This sense of fear and negativity can extend beyond the individual, creating an oppressive atmosphere that others can feel. Have you ever walked into a room and felt an inexplicable heaviness or unease? This could be the result of the negative energy surrounding someone under demonic influence. The individual might speak in a way that reflects their inner turmoil, focusing obsessively on doom, destruction, or their perceived failures. They may even actively resist attempts to uplift or comfort them, as if they are trapped in their despair. Tolkien's depiction of evil as a force that thrives on despair is vividly illustrated in the desolation of Mordor and the corrupting influence of Sauron. Mordor is a barren wasteland devoid of life and hope, a physical manifestation of the despair that evil seeks to impose on the world. Characters like Frodo and Sam often feel the weight of this despair during their journey, especially as they draw closer to Mount Doom. This relentless negativity threatens to sap their strength and willpower, illustrating how evil seeks to dominate not only the body, but also the mind and spirit. In real life, addressing such negativity requires a delicate balance of patience, compassion, and persistence. It's important to listen without judgment and offer reassurance that the person is not alone in their struggles. Encouraging them to seek professional help, spiritual guidance, or other forms of support can also be invaluable. Recognizing that this negativity is not a reflection of their true self, but rather a manifestation of something deeper and darker can help both you and the affected individual approach the situation with greater clarity and purpose. An aversion to sacred or positive symbols is a classic hallmark of demonic influence and one of the most easily recognized signs, often depicted in religious texts, folklore, and even modern storytelling. This aversion can manifest in a variety of ways, from discomfort and unease to outright hostility toward objects, words, or actions associated with goodness, purity, or spirituality. For those witnessing this behavior, it can be both alarming and perplexing, especially when it involves symbols that the individual previously had no issue with or even cherished. For example, a person under such influence might react strongly to the sight of a cross, the recitation of a prayer, or even a gesture of kindness. This reaction can range from subtle physical discomfort, such as squirming or avoiding eye contact, to more overt displays of anger, aggression, or even vocal protests. They might refuse to enter a church or other sacred space, recoil at the mention of religious figures, or express disdain for acts of charity or positivity. These reactions are often disproportionate to the situation and can feel deeply unnatural to those observing them. In some cases, the individual may claim a logical or rational reason for their aversion, such as disagreeing with organized religion or feeling uncomfortable with certain traditions. However, this discomfort often extends beyond a simple difference of opinion. It feels visceral, almost primal, as if they are repelled by the very essence of what the symbol represents. This aversion can also be accompanied by an increased attraction to darker, more destructive imagery or activities, creating a stark contrast in their behavior. J.R.R. Tolkien's works offer profound insights into this phenomenon, using allegory and symbolism to explore the nature of good and evil. In The Lord of the Rings, the forces of darkness are often shown to fear and despise symbols of light and hope. The light of Erendil's star, carried by Frodo and Sam, serves as a powerful example. This light, a representation of purity and divine power, is unbearable to creatures like the spider Shelob, who is driven back by its radiance. Similarly, the beauty and serenity of Lothlorien evoke a sense of awe and discomfort in those tainted by evil, such as the corrupted Gollum. Tolkien emphasizes that evil cannot coexist with the presence of true goodness, as its very nature is to distort and destroy. In real life, this aversion can extend to non-religious symbols of positivity and hope. For example, someone under demonic influence might react negatively to affirmations, acts of kindness, or even simple expressions of love and compassion. They might dismiss these gestures as naive or mock those who engage in them, reflecting an internal struggle against the light they represent. This behavior can create a barrier between the individual and their support network, isolating them further and deepening the influence of the dark forces at work. Addressing this aversion requires both sensitivity and persistence. It's essential to approach the situation with understanding, avoiding confrontation or forceful attempts to impose sacred symbols or practices on the person. Instead, focus on creating an environment of love, acceptance, and positive energy. Small, consistent acts of kindness and encouragement can help break down the barriers of negativity and open the individual to the possibility of healing and transformation. If the aversion is particularly strong or accompanied by other troubling signs, seeking spiritual or professional guidance may be necessary to address the deeper issues at play. Understanding this reaction to sacred or positive symbols can provide valuable insight into the nature of demonic influence and its impact on the human spirit. It serves as a reminder that such forces thrive on fear and division, but they are ultimately powerless against the strength of genuine love, faith, and hope. Recognizing and addressing this aversion with compassion and care can be a crucial step toward helping someone reclaim their true self and find their way back to the light. Unnatural obsessions or addictions are a significant and often overlooked sign of demonic influence. These compulsions go beyond the typical struggles with habits or desires and take on a life of their own, dominating a person's thoughts, emotions, and actions. They may feel driven to engage in behaviors that are not only harmful to themselves, but also to those around them. This sense of being controlled or compelled by something outside of themselves is a key characteristic that distinguishes such obsessions or addictions from normal human struggles. For example, a person may suddenly develop an intense and unhealthy fixation on substances like drugs or alcohol, or they might become consumed by an obsessive pursuit of power, wealth, or control. While these behaviors can have psychological or environmental causes, the presence of a deeper, darker influence becomes evident when the compulsion feels almost supernatural in its grip. The person may even express frustration or despair at their inability to break free, describing their actions as if they were not entirely their own. This kind of behavior often comes with a noticeable shift in priorities and values. The affected individual may begin to neglect relationships, responsibilities, and personal well-being in favor of feeding their obsession. They might isolate themselves from loved ones, avoid meaningful activities, or show an alarming lack of concern for the consequences of their actions. Over time, their world becomes smaller, revolving entirely around their addiction or obsession, leaving little room for anything else. J.R.R. Tolkien's portrayal of the One Ring serves as a powerful metaphor for this kind of destructive compulsion. The ring exerts an irresistible pull on those who come into contact with it, driving them to seek its power at all costs. Characters like Gollum illustrate the devastating impact of this obsession. Once a normal, kind-hearted individual, Gollum becomes entirely consumed by his fixation on the ring, losing his identity and humanity in the process. Even Frodo, the story's hero, begins to succumb to the ring's influence, demonstrating how no one is entirely immune to such forces. Tolkien's narrative highlights that these compulsions are not merely physical or psychological. They have a deeply spiritual dimension as well. The ring corrupts not only the actions of its bearer, but also their very soul, warping their perception of reality and eroding their moral compass. This mirrors the experience of those under demonic influence, where their obsessions or addictions are not just destructive, but also deeply isolating and dehumanizing. In the real world, these unnatural compulsions often manifest as a relentless pursuit of something that offers only temporary satisfaction, but leaves the person feeling emptier than before. Whether it's a substance, a behavior, or even an idea, the individual becomes trapped in a cycle of desire and regret, unable to break free on their own. This cycle is often accompanied by feelings of shame, guilt, or self-loathing, which further entrench the behavior and make it even harder to overcome. Addressing these obsessions or addictions requires a multifaceted approach. On a practical level, professional help, such as therapy or rehabilitation programs, can provide essential tools for recovery. However, the spiritual dimension of the problem must also be considered. Practices like prayer, meditation, or seeking guidance from a trusted spiritual leader can help address the deeper forces at work. For those who believe in demonic influence, rituals or interventions specifically designed to counteract such forces may also be necessary. Support from loved ones is equally critical. It's important to approach the situation with empathy and understanding, avoiding judgment or blame. The person may already feel overwhelmed by their struggle, and adding to their burden can drive them further into isolation. Instead, focus on offering encouragement and reminding them of their inherent worth and potential for redemption. Let them know that they are not alone in their battle and that there is hope for healing and transformation. Ultimately, unnatural obsessions or addictions serve as a stark reminder of the destructive power of demonic influence and its ability to distort a person's sense of self. However, Tolkien's works also remind us that no one is beyond redemption. Even Gollum, despite his many failings, plays a crucial role in the ultimate defeat of evil, symbolizing that even the most broken individuals have the potential to contribute to something greater. By recognizing the signs of these compulsions and addressing them with compassion and persistence, it is possible to help someone break free from their chains and rediscover their true self. A sense of being watched or controlled is one of the most chilling and pervasive signs of demonic influence. This feeling can take many forms, ranging from subtle unease to an overwhelming sense of paranoia. The individual may describe an almost constant awareness of a presence that cannot be seen, but is nonetheless felt with unnerving certainty. This presence may feel oppressive, as though it is observing, judging, or manipulating them from the shadows. For those experiencing it, this sensation is deeply unsettling and can disrupt every aspect of their daily life. One way this sign manifests is through an unexplained fear of certain spaces or situations. The person may avoid certain rooms, corners, or areas where they feel watched or uncomfortable. These locations often seem ordinary to others, but to the affected individual, they carry an air of menace. They might hear faint, unexplainable sounds, see fleeting shadows, or experience a sudden drop in temperature, phenomena that intensify their belief that they are not alone. While some might dismiss these experiences as mere imagination or anxiety, the intensity and persistence of these feelings often suggest something more sinister at play. The sense of being controlled can be equally disturbing. people under demonic influence may describe feeling as if their thoughts or actions are no longer entirely their own. They might say that certain ideas come out of nowhere, or that they feel compelled to say or do things that they wouldn't normally consider. This compulsion often carries a sense of dread, as though they are being driven by a force that seeks to harm or destabilize them. Over time, this lack of autonomy can erode their sense of identity, leaving them feeling helpless and detached from their true selves. J.R.R. Tolkien's depiction of Sauron's eye in The Lord of the Rings provides a compelling allegory for this experience. The Eye of Sauron is an ever-watchful, malevolent force that seeks to dominate and control everything within its reach. Characters like Frodo and Sam describe the weight of its gaze as oppressive and inescapable, a constant reminder of its power and intent to corrupt. Even those who are far removed from its physical presence feel its influence, illustrating the pervasive nature of such control. This symbol resonates deeply with those who have experienced the sensation of being watched or manipulated by an unseen force, capturing the fear and vulnerability that come with it. For some, the sense of being watched is accompanied by vivid and unsettling dreams or visions. They might see dark figures, hear disembodied voices, or feel as though they are being physically restrained during sleep. These experiences, often described as sleep paralysis or night terrors, can blur the line between reality and the subconscious, leaving the individual unsure of what is real and what is imagined. This confusion can deepen their fear and make them even more susceptible to the influence of the unseen force. In extreme cases, individuals may begin to feel that their relationships, choices, and even thoughts are being orchestrated by an external entity. They might describe a loss of free will, as though they are merely a pawn in a larger, malevolent plan. This perception can lead to withdrawal, as the person becomes consumed by the belief that they are powerless to resist the force controlling them. It can also result in a profound sense of isolation, as they struggle to articulate their experiences to others who may not understand or believe them. Addressing the sense of being watched or controlled requires a combination of psychological, spiritual, and emotional support. On a psychological level, therapy can help the individual explore their feelings and develop strategies for coping with anxiety and intrusive thoughts. Spiritually, practices such as prayer, meditation, or rituals designed to ward off negative energies can provide a sense of empowerment and protection. For those who believe in demonic influence, seeking the guidance of a spiritual leader or performing specific rites may be necessary to confront and expel the malevolent presence. Equally important is the support of loved ones. It's crucial to take the individual's experiences seriously, even if they seem irrational or exaggerated. Dismissing their feelings can deepen their sense of isolation and make them even more vulnerable to the influence they perceive. Instead, offer a listening ear, reassure them that they are not alone, and encourage them to seek help. Building a sense of community and connection can be a powerful antidote to the isolation and fear that often accompany this sign. Ultimately, the sense of being watched or controlled serves as a stark reminder of the vulnerability of the human mind and spirit. However, it also highlights the importance of resilience and the strength of the human will to resist and overcome such forces. As Tolkien's works often emphasize, even in the face of overwhelming darkness, hope and light can prevail. By recognizing and addressing this sign with compassion, understanding, and action, it is possible to help someone reclaim their sense of self and find peace once more.